I'm not worried about a zombie apocalypse because if it happens, I'm just gonna eat the zombies. Look at this, these are delicious. Oh yeah, cooking cordyceps. Thanks guys for showing me around your farm. We're at Lepton, Colorado, MycoLove Farm, growing absolutely delicious, mostly medicinal mushrooms, but you have a couple edible mushrooms and you sell to local restaurants occasionally?
Yep.
Okay, Shane, so what's in here?
This is our cordyceps room.
Check it out. Whoa! Wow. This is quite something. It's bright in here.
Oh yeah.
It's bright pink.
It's two things that are immediately noticeable are the temperature and the lighting, obviously.
Yep.
What we have found here at our farm, and I think other people are kind of exploring this too, is like what's interesting in the requirements that temperature is really important for cordyceps cultivation. Maintaining a very somewhat cool environment that's around 60, 65 is really important for the not only the colonization, but also the fruiting side of it. But what's really interesting is this idea of mushrooms, you know, might not eat light, they're not phototropic, but they are photoreceptive.
Yeah.
So we utilize the different spectrums of light here to not only induce fruiting behavior to help trigger that fruiting, but also there is some really good research on shining certain wavelength of light on cordyceps and being able to increase the metabolic processes, including secondary metabolite production.
So getting larger fruiting bodies that also have more of the active metabolites in them that you want for that medicinal purpose. Right?
Exactly. And then what we've also been able to find is using such intense light, it sort of speeds up the growth cycle as well, which is really cool to see.
So as production-wise, you can get a batch faster.
Yes. And what really sold me on is when we started playing with a very little light, very low wattage, the cordyceps all grew that
Towards the light. So yeah, they're photoreceptive.
Yeah, they're really utilizing that light for something, and we're like, what is going on here? So we're still exploring different intensity light, different cycles of light, and different spectrums of light. Definitely haven't cracked the entire code on it, but it works.
That's really cool. Do you want to open up a batch, choose a batch of Cheetos here and open one up so we can get a good look at them?
Absolutely.
Look at those cordyceps. Holy cow. That's so cool.
And it's slightly early, but normally what you would see when it's ready to harvest is the ascospores.
Okay, you see more white spores in here?
Yeah, well, you would also see like the stroma.
Okay.
This is what they're called, yeah.
Little dots on them?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is so cool to see.
You can see like little spikes on it right there.
Yeah, all the little, that's just a bit of that spore deposit on one of the more mature ones. Yeah, just like look at the shapes on these things. They're just so like twisted and gnarled. And this would be fruiting out of a little insect larvae that's on the ground, but here they are fruiting out of a big block.
Yeah. They also taste very interesting.
But you can't eat a couple of them raw, right?
Yeah.
You just don't want to eat too many of them raw because you gotta make yourself sick.
Yeah, not a bunch. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, this doesn't taste that much different than if I ate this and a slice of just white button mushroom from a salad bar.
Yeah.
They taste pretty much the same. There's nothing crazy about this in terms of mushroom flavor or aroma that's not in a normal button mushroom. But I know when we cook this up, it will taste much sweeter and better than a normal button mushroom.
Yeah.
So
I get like nutty flavor.
You get nuttiness? Okay. Well, this is really cool. Let's pull these outside and go cook some up.
Nice.
This is a dream come true for me. So we're here with our culinary lead, Michael, who's a co-founder of the MycoLove Farm. And he's going to help cook up some fresh cordyceps for us here, which I'm really excited about. I've only had them once, but I absolutely loved them. We'll just break off a couple handfuls here. This is so magical to just like hand over fist be grabbing cordyceps. This is what people are so afraid of in The Last of Us, right? Cordyceps.
And it's satisfying to pick.
Oh, they're so satisfying to pick. And they're, honestly, they're like little mushroom noodles. By the time you cook them up, they get really like soft. And the other thing you guys have talked to me about, which I think is really interesting, is this mycelium cake itself can be food, right? So it almost like it's a grain base and it's myceliated, and you can treat it kind of like a tempeh, which is, a grain base that has been glued together by a fungus called rhizopus. But the same mycelium creates a nice big cake, which you can then cut and fry up in butter and have a nice little like vegan burger kind of thing. There's even potential you can like dry this stuff out and powder it and make nutritional supplements or make flour or other additions.
We brewed coffee with it.
You brewed coffee with
Yeah,
it.
we
So
put it in the coffee basket and just brewed coffee.
that's super cool. And I think that's amazing too, because we're talking about like, you guys are using agricultural waste products, you're using oak chips, and we're doing this whole mushroom circular economy thing of creating food out of waste. Yeah, so this is what you call a dry saute, dry fry.
Dry fry, dry.
And this is
Why would you do a dry fry? Just curious. Mostly it's water.
yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah, because mushrooms are mostly water. And the thing I see, so mushrooms are kind of like a sponge, culinary sponge, and at first they're full of water. As soon as you add oil, you can't get rid of the water. So what you want to do is kind of squeeze the sponge first and get the water out. And that way, when you add other liquids, it's absorbing flavorful liquids. So if we add fat, it would prevent all the water from cooking out. If we cook the water out and then add our fat, we'll be able to control the flavor and the texture better. So we won't end up with something that's like slippery or soggy. We'll get really nice, dense, chewy, crispy mushrooms and add the oil and the butter to really bring out that crispiness. And that's, I think, the best way to cook really any mushroom is always start with a dry saute and then move to adding your fat later to crisp it. Yeah. I love that you hear the little squeaks. See these little squeaks? You know, so when you hear the squeaks, it's the same thing as frying. You're cooking the water out. If you're hearing squeaking, it's good. As soon as they stop squeaking, that's a fine time to go ahead and add the butter, as long as there's not active liquid in the pan. The other thing we're doing here is we're creating a really nice fond. So we're getting a lot of those Maillard reactions down in the pan with this color, colors and caramelization. And then when we add the butter has a little bit of water in it too, so it'll help deglaze the pan, pick up all those extra caramelized flavors. See the darkening of the orange here? Went from light orange to like really dark Cheeto orange. And by the time they're done cooking, they'll get a little bit brown. Look at this. That's why you look beautiful. Yeah, that's why we do the dry side. If you add the oil before it does that, they'll end up with that soggy texture.
It hit a certain point where it just started water.
Yeah, and it's suddenly it's not. You're like, oh, there's not much water, and then boom, that's the cellular structure breaking. That's squeezing that sponge. And you're gonna adjust the heat. You don't want to be too hot, sort of medium high, and then once the water's gone, I turn it down a bit of medium low. Add your butter and slowly caramelize here. The color in the pan here is amazing.
Yeah. No, it's very oyster-ish. I smell popcorn. I'm looking at that too. Nutritional yeast. Yeah, exactly.
Look at those.
So this is like, the first way we would have extracted as human beings.
It's true. As if the first extraction process was just cooking.
Yeah. Or fermenting, probably.
Yep.
Water is
cordyceps so much.
We're losing water. I'm going to turn the heat down and throw some butter in.
Yeah. See, perfect. Before any of this burns, Michael's ready to kind of make sure that this isn't going to burn. He's going to adjust the heat, and we're going to add the butter in here and start deglazing this whole thing.
And it looks like most of the color component is still intact.
See, yeah.
Surprising, right?
Yeah. So a lot of mushrooms, you start cooking them and the pigments break down. They stay pretty orange. And also it's nice because like when you cook them, they still look like what they are. And so if you do put them on top of stuff, you're still sort of recognizable as a cordyceps. There's a lot of mushrooms that once they're fully cooked down, they're essentially like, you can't tell a chanterelle is really a chanterelle anymore when it's kind of brown and soggy and limp. It's not that brilliant orange. So this stays a little bit of the same color. Yeah, and like most things, if you finish with a little salt and a little acid, it really brings it alive. So we could do one tiny little squeeze of lemon juice there at the end.
Demi-glace.
So yeah, I mean, they create their own sauce,
It's good color.
And so think about it too, when we tried them raw, they were kind of spongy and they didn't have, I wouldn't say they have a super distinct flavor. They had some flavor, but it was kind of raw mushroom flavor.
Yeah.
And now when we try them cooked, they're going to have a very different texture, much denser, a little more chewy. Depending on how you cook them, maybe a little crispy. So certainly for people on the vegan, vegetarian spectrum, you want to have the similar type of thing. You can create really cool, interesting meat dupes with stuff like this. Yeah, those look nice. You got some nice ones, little ones that are a little crispier, some big ones that are still very recognizable. Yeah, there's not that many. They sell cordyceps to cook, but I haven't seen them in that many restaurants. I haven't seen people necessarily embracing them. And I think more than ever with the advent of Last of Us and people being so sort of weirdly intrigued by fungi and mushrooms, but still extra scared specifically of cordyceps, it's important as a public thing to go out and be like, hey, you can eat these. And actually, not just can you eat them, but they're exceptionally good. Here, I got a nice little chunk here. Little dangly bits. Yeah, chewy, crunchy, surprisingly sweet. Wow. That's really incredible, right? Oh, it's way different. Told you. Yeah. It's so much different than the raw. Whoa. It's delicious. And also, like, it's so good. Just... It's really great. Absolutely wild-looking food that is incredibly delicious and potentially good for you. You know, I suspect. Those are such good mushrooms. Absolutely insane. Hey, thanks guys for showing me around your farm. MycoLove here in where are we? Colorado.
Fort Lupton, Colorado.
MycoLove farm, going absolutely delicious. Mostly medicinal mushrooms, but you have a couple edible mushrooms. You sell to local restaurants occasionally.
Yep.
Where else can people find MycoLove?
Yeah, on our website, mycolove.farm. And, you know, if you're in the local Colorado area, we're in a lot of these mom and pop shops.
And you guys primarily have supplements, right? In dropper form?
Yep, we do. We focus on liquid extracts, the tinctures, if you will. We just launched a non-alcohol base version about the end of July. So, yeah, check us out, mycolove.farm. Yeah.
Cool. And you guys are the founders here, showing us around, cooking us mushrooms out here on the farm.
Yeah, you hear that? The cow?
No bullshit. It's the farm. Well, very cool. These cordyceps are just absolutely blowing my mind.
We're sorry the camera guy can't eat more as we enjoy it.
Yeah.
I'll save you some.
I will. Wow. Yeah. Thanks again, guys. It was so much fun.
Thanks for coming out.
Yeah. It was